Welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Quiet Edge podcast. And I want to, as I begin this new episode, I want to just talk briefly about my mission, my desire with the Quiet Edge podcast and what I want to bring with it. And at the core of my intention with this podcast is to create longer form moments where we can actually sit together and drop into the presence of being together. Because in my experience, and this is my philosophy of my teachings and my work, when we are connected, when we are in a bond, in a relationship with this innate presence within us, it is the precursor to a life of fulfillment, joy, and meaning. Because when we are connected to this quiet, more simple, more gentle, more loving place within us, we're going to experience less doubts and less questioning ourselves, and we're going to feel in our heart and in our nervous system this expansive, call it joy or peace, of simply being. And my desire with this podcast is to help you connect with that, to help you reconnect with that, because it's really something that is always already there. No matter what you do in your life, or if you're very overwhelmed right now in this period of your life, or very stressed, there's a lot of changes going on. That is okay, because at the core of you, there's already something that is at peace. And it is my intention with this podcast for us to sit together and explore this piece, and then explore all the nuances, of course, of this piece, and explore different topics and themes. But the underlying base or foundation of what I want to bring is just transmit this presence to you, this quiet, simple place of peace. Because as we feel that and our nervous system kind of takes that in, absorbs that, life already takes on a simpler note. There's less franticness, less chaos. And then we can embrace and embark upon the challenges or the things that we need to resolve or figure out. But we can come at it from a different place of integration, from a different place of embodiment within ourselves. So that's my intention. That's my desire. So I really want to serve you to, over time, as you listen to these episodes, integrate this state of presence, this quality of presence in a deeper way, and have more tangible access to it, more of a direct experience and feeling of it. Because it is really life-changing. It has changed my life. It has transformed the way I live, the way I see things. It has transformed my faith in God. It has absolutely shown me that God is real. And I really want to serve you in feeling that connection to God's essence in a deeper way. So in today's episode, though, diving a little bit more into themes, into topics, I want to talk about, and this will actually be a part of the topic, but I want to talk about this framework that I recently thought of, or philosophy that I recently that came to me, which is the philosophy of your source and your signature, right? And it's two different elements of what makes up the totality, the wholeness of you, right? Now let's dive into the source, and we just touched upon it, right? The source for me is our spiritual source, right? What does the word source actually mean? Source means what is at the origin of something, right? Source means everything is sourced from here, right? So your source is really the inner inquiry and the inner introspection, you could say, of looking within yourself and saying, where is everything actually coming from? Like, where are my thoughts coming from? Where are my feelings arising out of? Where's my experience coming from? Right? Most people in this world are so occupied with what's on the external, right? Like what we're seeing, what we're noticing, what we're experiencing, the struggles, the challenges, the joys, the trials and tribulations. We're so occupied with what is happening, but we're very not so occupied with what is actually aware of what is happening. And that is one of the main spiritual inquiries, right? One of the most popular ones, or most well known, in Advaita and self-realization is this study. It has become a study of exploring what is at the core of us. And this is what I mean by your source, right? So this is my perspective, in order for us to truly live a congruent, fulfilling, meaningful, purposeful life, to really come in touch with everything that's within us and to unlock our highest potential, I don't see a way around making deep contact with your source. Because the source is where everything is coming from. It is you. It is the essence of you. It is your presence that is aware of what is happening. Now, most people in this world, and I say this without a judgment because I experience it, I have experienced it for all of my life. We live through the lens of our identity. We live through the lens of I am, for me, I am Henry. I'm a 31-year-old dude. I live here. This is my life. I struggle with this. I'm good at this. These are my skills. This is my job, right? We have an identity that is constructed, right, through our life experiences. And of course, that makes sense. And I'm not here to tell you, like, get rid of your identity or release your identity or get rid of it altogether, because that doesn't work. And that's not actually necessary, even though some very spiritual, intellectual people think that is necessary, but it's not necessary. And it's not even helpful. So your identity can be there, but most of us, the only thing we see ourselves through is our identity. So it's like this construct that we think is who we are, right? Our identity is who we are. But connecting to your source reminds you that your identity is actually something that is arising out of who you are. It is something that is within who you are. Who you are is that which is awareness of what is happening, of what you're experiencing. The one that sees, the one that feels, the one that experiences, the one that senses. That is your awareness, and that is your source. Because everything that you are witnessing and experiencing in life ultimately comes from this place. And we might be doubtful of that. We might not believe that because we haven't fully experienced that to be the truth. But I can tell you from direct lived experience over many, many years that when you come in touch with that place that is simply just aware, that is kind of layered, or that is a dimension underneath your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, it opens up a profound feeling of homecoming. It's like you coming home to yourself. It's a feeling of peace that you can't really describe in emotional language. It is a feeling of well-being. It is this, you could describe it as this deep, innate sense that all is actually well and that all is actually at peace. And that all the challenges, doubts, pains, and struggles you go through in your life, even though they're relevant to experience as part of the journey that you're on, ultimately, they don't touch the innate essence of who you are. They don't come close to even disturbing what you are at your core. And the reason why I talk so much about the source or about presence, right? You've seen me talk about, if you've listened to me for a while, you've seen me talk about embodied presence, which is basically beginning to integrate that presence into your day-to-day life and live from it and embody it and move from it. Because the more we are in connection to our source, the more our source guides us, the more this innate presence begins to whisper to us, begins to provide us with just innate, intuitive sense of clarity, a clarity that you can't figure out through your thoughts or through overthinking. It is a clarity that arises by you being in touch with this innate stillness, this innate freedom, you can call it, or innate peace. And I think if you want to live a truly spiritually integrated life where you are in touch with your purpose and you are at peace in your nervous system, there's no way around making connection to this essence of you, to the source of you. And in my work, I often talk about transmissions because for me, one of my gifts that I've developed over the years is because I've spent so much time communing and connecting with this presence is to actually begin to transmit that quality, to transmit that presence, to make it more palpable for you, almost as like a bridge or a helpful bridge to help connect to that which is already always has been there for you, but it kind of helps you as a bridge to connect to it. It can be helpful. And that's always my desire with all of these podcasts or the work that I do, at the core of is to transmit to you how at peace and whole you already are, so you don't go around in your life always chasing more worth or more wholeness or more, because the driver of that paradigm is really the sense that you're lacking right now. But coming in touch with your source is really to remember that you're not lacking anything right now. You're completely and utterly perfectly at peace, and all is well, and you're whole right now, and nothing in your life you'll ever do, no good deeds, no actions, no results, no million-dollar businesses or billion-dollar businesses will ever make you more whole. It can be a beautiful expression of your wholeness, but it will never make you more whole. But most people are under the conditioned imprint that they have to achieve, get somewhere to finally achieve the wholeness that they've always been yearning for. But what they've actually been yearning for, what they've always been yearning for, is their source, is the presence within them, is this feeling of, I want to feel home within myself. I want to feel safe within this life. And that's a byproduct of connecting to your source, of connecting to the present moment, because you will realize that you are held by something far bigger than your mind could ever understand. And the more you feel it and sense it, the more you trust it, and you'll just realize and know. Even if there are moments where your body feels unsafe, there's this kind of underlying connection with the fact that you're safe. And then you just have way more faith in life, way more faith in God. You don't struggle as much because you know you're going through different seasons in life that teach you different things. And the source will let you know what each season is about. Not always while you're going through it, but at the very least after the fact. And it will inform you of the lessons that you're needing to learn or that you're going through. But underneath, you can be connected to the sense of all is well and I'm safe. And that provides your nervous system with an unbelievable feeling of groundedness and safety. You're not always on edge, like, oh my God, I need to make more money here. I need to figure this out. And this stress of our nervous system, which is really our survival patterns that have been disconnected from our source, that are saying, I need to figure XYZ out in order to be okay. But the whole philosophy of my teachings, or what I try to transmit or bring, is really that you don't need to do XYZ to be safe. You can start connecting to what has always been safe within you and allow your nervous system to catch up to that, and start having your nervous system relax into that. And the more you connect to it, the more you trust that, the more it naturally expands within you. And the more grounded you feel. Grounded simply, you feel settled in yourself. You don't constantly feel on edge, or you always have to make something happen, or this inner stress that moves you. And how beautiful is it if you were to feel grounded and were to feel connected to yourself and at peace and safe in your nervous system? Do you know the amazing things you could actually create from that? Because you're not so desperate to create something. You're actually coming from yourself. And this leads me to the second element that I want to talk about, which is the second element of this philosophy, is your signature. Your signature is what comes about when you are grounded in your source, when you're more connected to the source, when you are able to receive and be receptive to the inner wisdom that flows from that, and more in tune with that. What comes out of that is your signature, which is your expression of your unique purpose in this life. And because you are here, you've been placed on this planet for a very specific purpose. Whatever that is, I don't know that for you, but you know it better than me. The more you're connected to your source, the more your purpose reveals itself effortlessly. The more you come in touch with what feels most natural, most organic, most real for you. And this is really what I want to invite you into. In order, a lot of people, they're kind of, I need to find my purpose. I need to seek my purpose. But it can almost be this stressful mental thing, this mental striving for a purpose. But your purpose isn't a result of mentally figuring out. Your purpose reveals itself by coming more in touch with who you are at your core, your source, your presence, and starting to develop a sense, a feel for what you enjoy, for what you burn for what you love, for what just feels like what you want to spend your life doing. And not just doing as a sense of, I need this as my career, but the values you want to spread, the values you want to embody, right? Not just in your job, but in your everyday life. people you meet on the street, right? How do I embody my signature? And can I go about trusting that signature because it's simply where I feel most free, most like myself? Expressing your signature is a sign, is a form of reclaiming freedom in all areas of your life. And we all have areas in our life, right, where we sometimes don't fully feel free. Like for me personally, sometimes even when I share or where I speak, and sometimes I still have doubts about myself. I still feel I'm not fully expressed. I still feel this kind of, there's more there. There's more depth to be explored. So I'm still on a journey, right, of this of reclaiming more freedom, of not hiding myself, but expressing all of myself and coming in touch with all these different layers of my signature and bringing it out into the world and expressing it and living it daily as a form of spiritual ethos, as my own, you could say, book of laws and of ethics that are congruent with me and my signature. And so a lot of people try to figure out their signature or their purpose by thinking about it and mentally kind of getting there. And it's but it's also like you always have to look at, where is it really coming from? Where is this originating from? Because a lot of times it comes from pressure and inner pressure we put on ourselves, in the sense of, I need to figure something out, I'm behind, right? So it comes from a sense of lack. And what does that mean if it comes from a sense of lack? It means that you haven't really spent intimate time, or enough intimate time, with your source. Because if you're connected more deeply to your source and nurture that thread of connection, your nervous system will feel more at peace and you will feel more grounded and relaxed. And then you can come more. Your patterns can relax and you can come more from your soulful self, which is basically the energy of your signature. Then you can really express that because you are relaxed. And this is the main tip I want to provide, or suggestion, is don't rush trying to figure out your purpose or trying to get, like, achieve that. Because as long as it's something to achieve, we've been so wired in our society, we need to achieve something, we need to get there ourselves through mental fortitude, right? But it's this kind of very aggressive paradigm. And I believe that our signature often reveals itself more deeply when we relax, when we're connected to our innate sense of wholeness, when we simply surrender this battle, this fight, as if life is a battle to figure out. And we come more to peace. And then more and more, the different varieties of your own signature and what you want to do reveal themselves. And then life becomes so much better and more joyful, because you're not constantly pressurizing yourself. And this is something I talk about a lot because I've experienced it so deeply. Even on my spiritual journey, my spiritual path, even the subtle pressure always to do the right thing, the subtle pressure to express the right way, to do it the right way. And we become kind of tight because we become so serious. And I think our signature reveals itself the more we are at ease and the more we feel fine right now, even if all the puzzle pieces haven't shown themselves yet, haven't revealed themselves yet, right? And so that's what I want you to feel into. You can feel into, what is my signature, but not as a mental question, but really exploring it. Where do I come alive? What do I enjoy? When I express this, I feel amazing. When I express this, I don't. And it's like this inner compass that keeps guiding you and guiding you. And what helps tremendously in discovering that is having connection to your presence or to your source, as that which always can relax and rejuvenate and strengthen your nervous system. Almost hit my microphone out of the way here. Which can relax and rejuvenate your nervous system and connect you to the sense of faith. Because if, in order to go about this journey maturely, you have to develop a tremendous amount of faith in life, that life will not lead you astray, that everything you're experiencing has some deeper purpose embedded in it, and that the purpose of it is always to help you come into even greater connection with your truth, your unique truth, and your signature, and what you want to do and how you want to live, and what feels most true and congruent to you. And that is your values, or the values that really touch something within you. For me, it is presence. For me, it is love. And it is being able to serve and being able to share this stuff and to help other people become more grounded in their truth, in their authentic expression, not needing to be like anyone else or everybody else, but simply your authentic expression, your authentic self. That is really what the signature element is about. To learn to be authentic, to learn to be real, to feel solid in yourself and real in yourself. Not like you're always performing for something, for some kind of result, for some kind of validation, for some kind of achievement. You can achieve, and you deserve to achieve, and you deserve to have amazing things in your life, and abundance is part of your life. But if it's coming from a performance, it's not going to really fulfill you and make you feel like your life has so much meaning and purpose, and make you drive on the street and burst out in laughter of joy because you feel so connected to yourself. Really, you want your success to be built on top of your authentic nature and who you are. And that's why we come in touch with our source. So first, we're grounded, we're at peace, we're connected to our wholeness in a deeper way. So our driver is not coming from lack. And when we're connected to that, when we've built that foundation, we've built that stability, then we are able to explore our purpose and our energetic signature from a way more relaxed place, and that will actually help us way more than trying to figure it out or pressurizing ourselves. And that is the challenge, because our mind or our conditioning is always this sense of urgency, and to actually relax into the unknown and sometimes spend some seasons of your life where things don't seem to be moving forward as quickly as you'd like. That is the challenge, but that is also where we put to rest that part of us that is always trying, always efforting, and make space for our soul. We make space for who we truly are, which comes from a way more relaxed and grounded place. In the near future, and you can stay up to date on my posts, my stories on Instagram or even YouTube here, I will be putting out some more actual support systems to help you come deeper in touch with your source and to integrate that into your way of life, to live from that, and to discover, explore, and have support as you begin to authentically and courageously live your signature, your authentic expression, because that's where I want to support. That's where I feel I can help and support you. So if you're interested in receiving support on becoming embodied in these ways, then definitely stay in touch, keep up to date. You can go on my website, link below in the description, and you can sign up for my newsletter and just stay in the loop of what's to come. I really want us all to feel more safe and connected to ourselves, and feel this overarching sense of love that is always there for us, to not feel like we have to do it all ourselves. Because when you feel like you have to do it all yourself, there's a tremendous pressure that places on you. But you are supported way more than you could ever imagine. And by connecting to your source, and by building a relationship with your innate stillness, you start receiving the intuitive whispers and insights that guide you forward at a pace that is good and healthy for your nervous system and for your progression. And that's what I want to support you with. And that's why I record this right now, or why I've recorded this, to help you come in touch with a way of life that is more grounded, more stable, more solid, and doesn't feel so overwhelming. It can actually feel fun and enjoyable, and you can feel a sense of peace. And isn't that something to long for? Isn't that something we desire really at the end of the day? We just want to feel loved. We want to feel at peace. We want to feel held, that we belong to something. And you belong to the most powerful, beautiful source that has ever been created. And I want you to feel that. Because once that integrates and trickles in, it changes your life deeply, deeply. So have an amazing rest of your day.